I believe in the radical imaginaries of a people seeking freedom. But how do I teach about freedom when there are children in cages on our borders? The earth and our climate, they're suffering. Right now, there are forces bent on the destruction of our communities. So how do we create spaces of learning in the face of that? What pedagogies do we deploy in the service of resistance and restoration? Despite a history of oppression in this country, I know our students can be the architects of a just future. But do we know how powerful we are? At UCLA, I'm known for teaching Introduction to Chicana and Chicano Studies. In these courses, I teach about social movements. I teach about the political economy, the studies of the nation. We address issues that are sometimes painful, that are politically controversial, like the history of housing struggles, the history of systemic racism. We talked about dispossession, banishment, and so they had to learn, how does that happen? They have to understand how this plays out in reality in people's lives.
A lot of the times if people are going into a Black Studies or Chicana Studies class, they don't really know what to expect. It's a fusion of a lot of different disciplines. Sociology, race relations, philosophy, and the main theme of those would be connectivity as people.
We're in Los Angeles. This is home of so many Mexicans and Mexican Americans. And so by having Chicano Studies classes, I think that really signals something to a lot of our students. And we are going to spend a lot of time thinking about these histories and these communities.
We all can understand that this is a text that tries to elevate the stories that are not meant to be told. It tries to unsilence the voices that people try to silence all the time.
Every course that I took with her, we had a lesson where we would go out into the field, either if it was related to music, like a concert, or if it was, social justice organization based, like going out in the field and helping with those causes. She always would place that real class, real life fusion into her courses, is taking that academic thought process, breaking it down and making it accessible, not only for students between each other, but also with individuals who might not have the opportunity to be on a college campus.
In the class, to give examples of these things, I tell these stories about cilantro workers, or I tell them about the Farm Workers' Bill of Rights. I tell students about some of the other things that I witness in the community work that I've done over many years. I can't get those stories unless I'm there. I'm talking about everyday people who may never make the news, but who do extraordinary things that are as simple as putting food on the table because they have to work so hard just to do that. And there's so much judgment about people who live in poverty, about the choices they make that brought them into that place. If you don't want to live in a dangerous neighborhood, why don't you move? As if that's actually a choice that people can make. The choices that people often have to make are much more painful. Dinner or breakfast for my child.
There's been plenty of times where Gay will give anecdotes. Could be based on her research, or even something as personal as talking about what it means to be a working mother.
Where are your slippers? Did you take them to? Oh, here they are. Here they are. Oh, you want your slippers or your roller skates? I think you gotta cook in your slippers.
And if we're talking about equity, if we're talking about divisions of labor, if we're talking about gender, if we're talking about race and class in the United States, those are very relevant conversations to have in the scope of the course material. That's a point of connection that is not a distraction from the course material. It is the heart of the material.
The thing about me, and just like about a lot of people who are tenure track professors who engage in service and research and teaching, we don't have a lot of time. Because if you have 900 students, you can't see them all every week. And so with big classes, office hours are an opportunity for me to personalize the experience with one-on-one engagement with students.
Come
Hello,
in.
Professor Johnson.
Hi. Come on in.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
If the 10 minutes is all I have with you, I'm gonna make that 10 minutes count. And we're gonna connect somehow, or I'm gonna be helpful in some casual way, but I'm there and I try to be present.
Just going through some pretty deep stuff over a couple years after I had been a student and working with her. And I just remember got to a point where I really needed support. And so for some reason, I would always find myself in her office hours. And I just remember breaking down crying with her before, and she would just be staring there and like helping me and giving me a hug and consistently be like, I'm here for you. Like, I care about you. Like, this is real. Like, no matter what you're telling yourself in your mind, this is real. Like, I am here for you, and like, you can do this, you know? And I wouldn't have been able to make it through school or make it through like life without her. And I know that there were so many students that would really go to her when they were living out of their cars, when they didn't have anything. They couldn't afford books, and she would buy them. You know, she would. She would never say anything about it. And that's the type of person she is. And I saw it, and that's truly life-changing.
Well, you know, my parents, they raised me to value service. And so that was kind of like our practice, was that we would be of service to people. And honestly, like, this is where a lot of my stories also come from. They come from a witness of pain and struggle, but also for a deep compassion my parents taught me about. My father's sister, her name was Gay, and I was named after her. She died young. And he wrote this poem for her. At her funeral, he read it, and in it, he was talking about the pain of her being gone. And he said, but it's the love that makes you bend. And I just thought, wow, it's the love that makes you bend. That's true, right? I mean, you could be going through something so hard and you're fine, right? You're just zipped up, and somebody comes to give you a hug. That's when you lose it, right? You lose it because of the love that makes you bend. So I feel like that's the answer. That's got to be the answer. The answer is more love, more music, more art. Let's have it out there, because I do believe from the things that I've witnessed that this world is such a joyful, brilliant, brilliant place. And we need more of that in order to counter some of the other stuff that feels equally as powerful, but that I don't think is going to win. I really believe that love will win.